We are ready to hand over the government. We are ready to be totally away from any government or governing body. But when it comes to Hamas as an entity, as a Palestinian liberation movement, I think no one can overcome or exclude Hamas. Hamas is also present in the West Bank. Hamas is present in Jerusalem, in the diaspora. Therefore, Hamas is not only the government in Gaza. And therefore, yes, we are ready to leave the government for a Palestinian body, but we are still there on the ground.
How long do you think that the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas is going to last? Check out this great clip over here from Sky News, where the reporter is interviewing one of the officials from Hamas. And Hamas tries to play it like, oh, it's Israel that has to be watched and monitored to see if they're going to hold up their end of the deal. Watch how delusional this guy is through discussing the whole process, and listen to how eager he is to disarm and to leave any sort of governance in Gaza. So watch this clip together. You're going to love it. We'll watch it together and then talk about it. But first, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Check this out.
I believe without the personal interference of President Trump, after giving Netanyahu the chances one after one to fulfill or to finish the job, and he failed at the end to finish the job according to his criteria, the so-called absolute victory, without the personal interference of President Trump. In this case, I don't think that it would happen to reach this end, the end of the war. Therefore, yes, we thank President Trump and his personal efforts to interfere and to pressure Israel to make an end of this massacre and slaughtering.
You have also called on President Trump to ensure that the Israeli government, Benjamin Netanyahu, sticks to its obligations. Do you trust that President Trump will do that and will continue the pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu?
Look, when it comes to Benjamin Netanyahu, we don't trust him at all, and his government and his state. We have a long experience with undermining and sabotaging agreements with the Palestinians, not only with Hamas. I'm talking about decades of sabotaging agreements with the Palestinians and even with other countries, which has already signed with Israel the so-called normalization agreement. Therefore, yes, we believe and we hope that President Trump continue to interfere personally and to exercise the maximum pressure on Netanyahu to fulfill its obligation, first as according to the deal, and second according to the international law as an occupying power. Because I think without this pressure, without this personal interference from President Trump, this would not happen.
How will you ensure that the fighters, the Hamas fighters in Gaza, will abide by this ceasefire as well and won't trigger a breakdown of this ceasefire?
I have no doubt that they will stick to the deal and fulfill their obligations accordingly. I hope that the Israelis will do this.
Just to be clear, that the Trump plan does say that Hamas will have no role in governing the future of Gaza. So you can confirm then that your role as Hamas is over?
Look, Yalda, and I have to be honest with you and with your audience, and I have always be very open and frank in answering questions. Therefore, yes, we are ready to hand over the government. We are ready to be totally away from any government or governing body. But when it comes to Hamas as an entity, as a Palestinian liberation movement, I think no one can overcome or exclude Hamas. Hamas is also present in the West Bank. Hamas is present in Jerusalem, in the diaspora. Therefore, Hamas is not only the government in Gaza. And therefore, yes, we are ready to leave the government for a Palestinian body, but we are still there on the ground.
And what about disarming? Because you're talking about a political ideology, but there's also calls for Hamas to completely disarm itself. Is that something that Hamas is willing to do?
First of all, I have said all other points except the issues or topics related to the first phase, end of the war, withdrawal, prisoner exchange and aid. This is part of the second or third, I don't know how many phases, but this has to be discussed and this question is belonging to these phases, and this has to be discussed with all other Palestinians about the future of our strategy to struggle for freedom and independence. Up to that point, first, no one can deny us the right to resist by all means, including armed resistance. We can offer any other modality like a hudna or a ceasefire for 5, 6, 7, 10 years where arms are stand still. We can think with other Palestinian resistance movement, with Arabic countries, with Islamic countries, how to guarantee a period of 5, 10 years, a time, space to found the Palestinian state. But what we have said many times,
so just to be clear, though,
weapons
are
going to be handed over only to the hands of a Palestinian state. And our fighters can be integrated into the Palestinian National Army. Before that, no one has the right to deny us the right to resist the occupation by all means.
Now you're saying you don't want to and you will not disarm.
If you ask it directly, yes, we are not going to be disarmed as long as we are not sure that this will lead by any other means to have an independent, self-sovereign state which is able to defend itself. Second, there are other modalities. By the way, if the question, this question is again unfair question. This question has to be directed to the aggressor, to the criminal who committed the genocide, as you have done with the Nazis after the World War II. Therefore,
Dr. Bassem, this is part of the deal, though. This is written very clearly as part of Donald Trump's 20-point plan.
We are not part of the whole deal. We have accepted the first phase, which is including end of the war, prisoner exchange, withdrawal, and aid. The rest of the points is belonging to the whole Palestinian political arena and all other factions. They have to discuss it together and to find ways how can we move forward by our struggle for freedom and independence. During this time, we can find a lot of modalities to have to lie our weapons down, to have a ceasefire, 5-10 years, to have a truce, to have any way of controlling this portfolio. But again, this is a genuine right of Palestinian people, and no one can deny us. If this question has to be directed, has to be directed to the aggressor, and he has to be disarmed. His nuclear weapons, chemical weapons, biological weapons, which has been already used in the Gaza Strip and other areas during this war.
What about an interim political force made up of the likes of, and including the role of former British Prime Minister Tony Blair? Have there been discussions around that, and would you be open to welcoming them governing Gaza?
First of all, I am very sad every now and then to hear such proposal, because I am sure that Palestinians, after 100 years of struggling against the British mandate and the Israeli occupation, they are mature enough to rule themselves. But when it comes to Tony Blair, former Prime Minister, unfortunately, we Palestinians, and I'm sure Arabs and Muslims and maybe a lot of people around the world, they have very, very bad memories about him. We still remember his role in killing on causing the killing of thousands or millions of innocent civilians in Afghanistan, in Iraq. We can remember very well, after destroying Afghanistan and Iraq, he became, as a reward for his crimes, to be the head of the quartet, which was imposing the siege on the PA first in 2003, and the quartet conditions, and then on the government formed by Hamas in 2006. I think all Palestinians, not only in Hamas, not only in Gaza, have very bad and very negative image of him. And I don't believe that he will be very welcomed or will be a very positive input in this case. Again, Palestinians have a lot of independent technocratic cadres or leaders who can do the job in the best interest of the Palestinian people. To be honest, when I hear the name Tony Blair, I can say this could be Balfour Declaration 2 after 100 years. We are reviving some very bad memories of UK and British mandate. Therefore, he can be the second Balfour in this case.
Dr. Bassem, I want to ask you about the strike in Qatar, which hit one of your officers and it missed the people in the room. You were in the room. Just talk me through that moment and how you realized that the strike had happened and the fact that you weren't in the room that you were expected to be in.
Alhamdulillah, we are still alive. We have a new chance to continue our struggle for our people to reach their goals of independence and self-sovereignty. If we were killed at that moment, I am sure we are not more precious than thousands of our children, women, and innocent people killed by the Israelis.
It's almost as if he didn't read the deal at all. He has opposition to laying down their weapons, which is a key part of the deal. He has opposition against Tony Blair and the other nations, other leaders being involved in a transitional government authority. He doesn't seem to be, I don't know if he read the same deal that everybody else read, but he doesn't seem to be going along with it very well. But one thing's for sure as the sun rises, Hamas is not going to go down easy, not just going to lay down their weapons. They are not going to stop their terrorist activities, because a terrorist is a terrorist is a terrorist. Signing pieces of paper is not going to change an ideology, a movement, a worldview that is dead set on destroying Israel and killing Jews. It's in their charter, guys. It's in their charter. That's what they want to do. They're not hiding the ball, right? Points for honesty, I guess. But this is who they are. And so all the peace agreements and deals and whatnot, they're going to need the cooperation of the Arab world, which is why I thought it was very, very smart that President Trump sort of garnered the support of the Arab world as well, saying all of them calling upon Hamas to disarm, all of them calling for Hamas to be removed from power. And so this is going to hopefully force their hand in doing so. But willingly, Hamas just surrendering, laying down their weapons, saying we're not going to use our tunnels anymore. We're just going to move out, and you'll never hear from us again. I don't know, guys. That's not happening anytime soon, unfortunately. The ultimate good was if they would just change their ways and want to come to the table. But the deal also says, when it talks about Palestinian statehood, it says that first there has to be many years of the Hamas and radicals in the Gaza Strip and the radicals in general in the Palestinian discussion getting rid of this belief that they have to destroy Israel. It's never been about a Palestinian state. It's about destroying the Jewish state. That's always been the modality that has been used. And so until that point can get over that hurdle and not make their whole identity about destroying Israel, then there might be something of a discussion to be had at the table. But until that point, Palestinian statehood doesn't seem to be, nor should it be, something that's on the discussion table. So we'll see how everything unfolds. I think it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and how it's all going to come together. I think that there's good potential. There's a lot to be optimistic about. But how exactly it's going to unfold and what it's going to look like in making Hamas disarm is quite another. So we'll see, and we'll be here with you along the way to talk through it all. And if you like this content overall, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Take care.